John here. Electricians need to know. Today we're talking about receptacles. Now we're not talking about GFIs. I have two videos on GFIs, one on installation and one on troubleshooting. This is about receptacles, the kind you find in your living room, the hallway, the bedrooms, the den. Typically 15 amp circuits. You'll find that there are like 3 typical types. Now this is the only one I ever installed. It was has big holes. You put it in and then you tighten the wires up with a screwdriver and it holds the wires. Those are the best. They're a little more money. They run from about $350 up. So typically you'll find these guys are push-ins. When they rope a house, they shove it in and they go to the next one and shove it in and go to the next one. And typically you're going to find 4 or 5 leads coming in one, going out to another receptacle, going out to another receptacle, and then going out to another receptacle, and so on. I have found 10 daisy-chained receptacles on one circuit. Okay, that's not good. Usually I think the code is 5. So that's typical of the installation. It's just pushed in the back. These are 15 amp receptacles. Now I don't like 15 amps because I can break them off too easily. So I usually buy 20s. These guys with the big holes, they're 20s. They hold a bigger wire. This is a 14 2 with ground. These guys hold 12s, but they'll hold 14s too. I like them because they're more durable. They don't melt down as easy. They're a better receptacle. Now you're going to find sometimes power wires coming from the panel. All it's going to be is a hot, a neutral, and a ground. Okay, typical installation. They're going to be shoved into here. Now, let's say this wire is coming from the panel. It's shoved in. The hot side is the gold side, and the white side is the neutral side. Okay. So then there's a continuation circuit out the bottom. Now, years ago, most of us brought in power at the top, and circuits or loads or continuation circuits out the bottom. We don't like it, but nobody cares anymore. They just jam it in there wherever they want to, and I have seen circuits coming in from the panel, the hot wires on the bottom and the white wires on the top, and then the continuation circuit is backwards also. So you see all kinds of things out there. Now when they install these, they're installing them for speed because that's what they're made for, to push in. The inside of the receptacle has a blade in it that when you push it in, this blade picks up and it sits on the wire about like this. Okay, and that's your connection. It's not a good connection. It's an okay connection as long as it's reasonably new. Over the years, they have a tendency to deteriorate, or I think the biggest problem is this is your power lead going into here, then a continuation circuit going to here, and this one goes here down the wall somewhere, and then another one goes off this and goes to another one down the wall somewhere, or down the hallway, or into the living room, or wherever it goes. Once you get 5 or 6 of these daisy chained out, and like I said, I've seen 10, all that current overloads the circuit, and these things fail. That's typically the failure of these things. Now the blade that sits on the wire is the smallest connection, and that starts burning and arcing and deteriorates. So you have to troubleshoot these. The best way to troubleshoot these, and you do have to have some test equipment. You don't have to have expensive test equipment. An idiot light works really well. There it goes, and that helps. A Wiggy, of course, is the best. It loads the circuit down. It has 3,000 ohms per volt. of impedance, so it loads it pretty good. So a bad breaker or something like that would not allow this to turn on. So this would tell you if you had usable power in a receptacle. You can use a digital voltmeter. The digital voltmeter needs to have a low Z impedance scale right there, low Z. It has 3,000 ohms per volt impedance, and it loads the circuit down, and you can test to see if you have enough power there with the low Z scale. But if it's not on a low Z, or it doesn't have a low Z scale, then you need a Wiggy, that power device, or light bulb, floor lamp, desk lamp, anything that would load that circuit down. So the typical problems that you're going to have is you're going to have 3 or 4 receptacles that don't work. You may only have 1 or 2, depending on where your problem is. So the easiest thing I know is take a lamp, plug it in to one of the circuits that don't work, and you go around to the other circuits that don't work, and you bang on the wall right above the receptacle. Bang, 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 bang. Okay, now if the light flickers, you know you have a bad connection in that box. Now, a lot of times when you run circuits, when they come from the panel, they'll hit a receptacle, they'll hit a switch box, and then they go off from there to the receptacle. So don't exclude the switch boxes. If you have a room that has 2 or 3 receptacles out, or a couple of receptacles out, go ahead and plug a lamp in them and bang around on the switch boxes, bang around on the floor boxes, any boxes you have in there that don't work. And even if the receptacle does work at some point in the hallway or in the bedroom or living room, bang on those also. You never know where you're going to find that circuit. That circuit may be fed into a receptacle in the garage and then jump into a bedroom. I mean, there's no print, there's no rhyme nor reason to have some of these electricians wire these houses. It's the best thing you can do is buy a track house that has been wired the same way over and over and over 100 times, and they figure out the best way to do it, and so you get some pretty good, you can do some pretty good guessing about how the circuits run in those cases. But a custom home, you're potluck. So anyway, that's one of the best ways to just bang on the walls above the receptacle or the switch box and see if you can get the light to light. See if that will find the bad connection in the box. Okay, that's the best way I can tell you to do it. Other than that, other than you open them all up and you test all the wiring, but make sure you use a meter, a Wiggy, something that would load the circuit, a digital voltmeter with a low Z scale, or even a lamp. Idiot lights work. They let you know if you got power. They don't tell you if you have a bad neutral usually, but they do give you an idea of which wire is hot and so forth. Now I have about 20 videos on YouTube, and most of them are for electrical issues. Some of them are for tying off ladders and protecting your toolbox and things of that nature. But I've been an electrician over 50 years, and we've learned to do things a Pacific way, and I wanted to pass that on before I kicked the bucket. So subscribe to my channel, and once in a while I'll put a new video on like this one, and you'll be notified. All right, I want to thank you all for watching, and I appreciate it.